All right, everyone. Welcome to round one, our feature table of the Untap Open League Season 2. I'm Kevin Hanlon, and joining me in the booth today is Kevin Finkel.
Hi, Kevin. Nice to be here with you.
Likewise, Kevin. Kevin. All right.
So I'm really excited about this match for today because we've got two people that are definitely prominent members of the UOL, and they're on some interesting decks. Two decks that are both prominent in the decks we've seen for this year, or this last season.
Absolutely. This is a matchup that I've been wanting to see for a little while. We've got a Jeskai Saheeli list featuring Opt, and we've got the new Blue-Black Conspiracy Control deck. We call it the Blue-Black Conspiracy because the entire top cut is running a variant of this Blue-Black Control list, and it's absolutely astounding that they all decided to rip the same list. So, yeah, we're expecting an amazing push from both of these lists. Our own Matt Murday is also running a variant of the Jeskai Saheeli list that the bottom player Seuss is on. So without further ado, I think we can go ahead and get started.
Yeah, so that Matt Murday, that's the triangle other part of our little podcast here, which is our angry Canadian friend.
Yeah, I call him Matt Grandpa Murday.
So not just Opt. Opt isn't the only card here that's new that we're going to see from Ixalan out of this Jeskai deck. We're also really seeing them take advantage of that Planeswalker uniqueness rule change. So he's jamming for Gideon and for Gideon, the smaller one, the 3-drop.
Yeah, so Daddy Gideon and Teen Gid, as we call him. So it would be Gideon of the Trials, the 3-drop that can prevent damage. And then we've got Gideon Ally of Zendikar, the classic that everyone loves. All right, so it looks like we've got a Search for Azcanta coming out on turn 2 from Matt McTavish here. Looking to already get up on card advantage and dump a whole bunch of things into his graveyard so that he can start really delving into early dig through times. And yeah, that's definitely the big appeal that I've seen for Azcanta so far. What do you think about it so far, Kevin?
Oh yeah, I think the card's great. And right in here, we're getting the perfect matchup. We're going to see whether Jace or Search for Azcanta is our better turn 2 play.
Right, whether Creature Jace or Enchantment Jace is the better Jace, right?
So I don't know how much you looked at this matchup beforehand. What are the cards to really be looking for between these two decks?
Okay, so Gideon of Ally of Zendikar and Gideon of the Trials are both going to be huge for Seuss. Basically, his early game is going to revolve around how many Planeswalkers he can get to stick, basically, and whether or not Matt McTavish, the top player, Arthas, whether or not he can land his Vraska's Contempts at the right time or counter said Planeswalker spells is going to determine whether or not he can get into his late game finishers with Scarab God, which is going to be his really, really big one, and then he also runs Gear Hulks.
So there's a couple big things I want to talk about there. First of all, you have the Vraska's Contempt, which is another new card we get to feature here out of Ixalan. So that one's the 4-mana instant that can exile a creature or planeswalker, and then you gain 2 life. So it's a little bit more expensive than Hero's Downfall, but we don't have access to that, so it's replicating that effect.
All right, so end of turn, it looks like our friend Zedra's. Sorry, I'm gonna call him Matt McTavish. Is cracking a fetch. He's gonna grab a Sunken Hollow and draw for turn. Do we have a hand check on Matt McTavish right now?
All right, let's see what we've got there. So I only think I have from the beginning of this game here what he started the game with. He had that swamp, that island, that polluted delta, the Search for Azcanta. He's holding up a Negate, a Crux of Fate, as well as that Scarab God that we're looking for. So that you talked about. Big card, big reason to be playing this deck.
Oh, so in response to the Jace trigger, it looks like we're seeing a Fatal Push come out. So looks like Matt does not want to play around with that looting effect constantly. So we'll get 1 loot here, and then and that'll be it. Cool.
All right, so getting back to that Scarab God.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough card for Mars to answer here because it's just so... There's no real card that will exile it. I don't see any kind of Nahiri that we see in some of these lists, any way to get it off the field permanently.
So something else to note is that the big value that you get out of Scarab God is being able to recur your opponent's creatures that you've killed. All right, looks like we see a negate coming out, so...
So that's big. So he went for that Gideon, that big play out of the Jeskai Saheeli deck, and that got them gate.
So it looks like we're getting plenty of spells landing in the graveyard. We're already at a delve count of 3. So with a fetch, we could already have a dig on turn 4 coming out here. Ooh, not
especially
even with a fetch.
The one that's going to hit in this. Yeah, the one that's going to hit before the...
Yeah, this Azcanta can definitely just dump something. So let's see if he bends the top.
Deck, there really aren't that many creatures in the deck, so there's not much for that Scarab God to be bringing back.
Right, the only...
part of this. Yeah, is it still going to be a big part of this game?
I don't think the Scarab God's going to be a really big part of this game. I think it probably gets sided out unless Matt decides to stick with his pet card. So he is on record for saying that Scarab God is his favorite card in this metagame. So he might just do it for pet value, but I think he's smarter than that. So we're probably going to see it get sided out for some Gifted Etherborns, and yeah.
All right, well, we'll talk sideboarding between games, but I'm interested in that. I would think that it actually might be good anyways in this matchup because there is no way for Mars to permanently get rid of it.
Yeah, but he can just blanket every turn with Gideon of the Trials. Like when you just have
Gideon of the Trials, or the larger Gideon who could just summon blockers and repeatedly block that way.
Totally.
That makes sense.
All right, so it looks like Seuss is getting on the control mirror right now. He's just going to say, all right, go ahead and do your thing, try to drop a dig.
Well, eventually he's looking for that big play. Turn 6 onwards, he can play the Saheeli and the Felidar Guardian on the same turn.
Yep, and we're on 6 land, so at any point...
looking back at what he had at the beginning of the game, he's holding up a Lightning Strike we haven't seen, as well as a Gideon of the Trials he hasn't played.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
Maybe that he was waiting to play that Gideon or the Saheeli with an ability to counterspell back up.
I imagine this gets disallowed?
It looks like that is resolved. So he plays Saheeli, picks it up from 3 to 4, does 1 to his opponent, and gets to scry 1 from the top of his deck.
Yep, alright, so do we have a Vraska's Contempt in Matt's hand right now?
I think that's going to be the question. And also,
ooh, Planeswalker Wall coming out. Alright, so come to think of it, a 4/4 Jace that can loot is actually pretty threatening.
So it would be difficult to loot. It's not a May on that trigger, so if he would flip it, it would just get exiled and wouldn't come back. So
right.
You could only
yeah, totally. All right, so we just saw Return for Azcanta flip, so we're looking at a serious blue-black ramp strategy right now. But in all actuality, that's a lot of card advantage on a land. So
yeah, if the game's going to be this low, he'll be able to activate that multiple times, get a lot of value from it, which Suze is going to have a hard time matching up with.
Yeah.
So something else there that happened is that Essence Scatter. I think that's big for Zed because that he's got 3 of those main deck, and that's something that's going to be a hard time to find value in this matchup. There's not a lot of creatures coming out of the other deck, so getting a payoff on that, countering a Jace, that's really big for him.
That is huge for him right now. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so we're seeing a pretty decent stall right now. So I just got a hand report from Matt McTavish. We're looking at Scarab God, Gear Hulk, Crux of Fate, and another search for Azcanta.
Alright, so that Gear Hulk, that just turned it on. He didn't even have the 6th land, and he still got it off of that search for Azcanta, so that's really good for him.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, like the ramp is actually a real thing when you're in a control matchup.
And here comes that Gideon of the Trials out of here. Now, if you were in Mars's spot and you had that Felidar Guardian in your hand, you wouldn't go for it in this position, right?
Absolutely not. No, you wait until your opponent's tapped out.
All right, well, let's hope that he has the tools to make that possible.
I mean, he's got a Gear Hulk in hand, so he can definitely respond by playing Gear Hulk. And, oh, are we just going to see this pass? Yeah,
so,
he's gonna play the Gear Hulk. Beautiful alternate on the Gear Hulk. And are we gonna see like a posthumous negate on that Gideon maybe? I do not see a dig through time in here.
So he does have the opt. That's an option here.
Okay, so I guess he's just gonna attack.
Yeah, that's right.
He's just gonna attack the Gideon?
So I suppose that the reason he was afraid to counter the Gideon originally is that if he had followed up by playing another land, playing a Felidar Guardian, that would have killed him right there.
Yeah, it's true.
So he didn't want to tap out when it wasn't the end step of his turn. Now he's taking a little bit more risk, too, because he doesn't have the Saheeli in play, the obvious threat there.
Right, absolutely. But if Seuss has both in hand, then he can just go for the combo right now.
All right, so that was a play of the Scarab God as well for anyone who happens to be listening, not watching, or can't see what that card is.
Yeah, we'll highlight that real quick here. So that's Scarab God. And there are actually a few targets for Scarab God right now. He can hit a Jace, which would really just be, at this point, just a 4/4. But
well, it's a 4/4. It'll also activate the first ability of Scarab God, which I tend to forget about, is that he'll be able to scry X and do a little bit of damage.
Right.
In a long game like this, that's going to do some real value.
Absolutely. But right now, that's the only target, and he can only have one on the battlefield at a time. So we'd be looking at an incremental damage every turn. But, I mean, we're seeing the Gideon tribe out right now, and that... Man, I don't know what your opinion on it is so far, but yeah, it's a really, really strong combination and so impressive.
So what he'd really like to see here, he wants to get one of those Vraska's Contempt. He'd love to get that Gear Hulk in the graveyard, bring it back with the Scarab God. That's a good way to use that card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so he swings with the Torrential Gear Hulk. We get a chump block out of that Knight Ally.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw that coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we'll see what he can do with the rest of his mana here. Otherwise, he may be able to sit back, try and grind some value out of that search for Azcanta, and hope that these Gideons taking up isn't going to do anything too much.
It's going to be really brutal. Yeah, so something to note as well on Matt McTavish's side is that the life loss that happens from Scarab God is not damage. So Gideon's plus ability doesn't prevent any damage from Scarab God's zombie count effect, right? So this...
Right, that also, though, means you can't redirect it to one of the Gideons to pressure them that way.
It also does mean that,
we are here possibly going to see that this Jace is going to come back through the Scarab God at the end of turn here.
Mm-hmm, most definitely. Who do you think's favored right now in this matchup?
In the matchup overall, I think that we're supposed to say that it's favored to the Saheeli deck. I mean, that's what we've been saying on the show. That's what we've been kind of saying, is that Saheeli has really hated out this control meta. We used to see Grixis Control being one of the decks we wanted to be a top deck, and it's really just the Saheeli matchup holding it back. Now, I don't know if that's completely true, especially Game 1 against this kind of Saheeli, which is a little bit less on that build value, and more on the Planeswalkers plan.
Yeah, totally.
So I think it'll depend here. I think from this position, I like where the blue-black control deck is. Getting that Scarab God into play, there's only the one of them main deck, and I think it's going to be really hard to answer.
Yeah, absolutely. We've only got... yep, so here comes a dig through time from Matt McTavish.
All right, so while we were talking there, he exiled 5 cards from his graveyard, playing this dig through time. So he's leaving behind, I see, a Fatal Push and a Negate in the graveyard, which may be able to be something he wants to flash back later.
Oh, okay, cool. So I understand that you have a hand check from Seuss. Can we get a...
All right, let me give that a check.
Cool.
So let's see what Seuss is holding. So this is Mars, the player on Gideon. He's currently got that Lightning Strike we saw from the beginning of the game. He's got another of the small Gideon, and he's holding the Felidar Guardian, the cat.
All right, so it looks like...
Fumigate to the bottom with that Saheeli.
It looks like our dig is 2 negates, an Essence Scatter of Vraska's Contempt, another dig, and 2 lands.
So that's going to be lights out, probably.
Yeah, that's...
The Jace here as well, probably. He'll be able to hold that Negate back up, and he's going to be able to take out at least one of these Planeswalkers, probably both if he's using that Vraska's Contempt.
This is going to be a total blowout, yeah.
So we're expecting what, the Negate as well as the Vraska's Contempt?
I would expect that he takes the additional dig and the Vraska's Contempt, if I know anything about Matt at this point. But he might go for a Negate.
Yeah, I think there's some value both ways. The Negate, there's some risk to him still drawing the Saheeli, being able to play both parts of the combo next turn if he doesn't have another way to interact with that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, he might go for a Negate just to stop another Saheeli from coming down. I mean, we're in Stranger Danger mana right now, so literally as long as Matt taps out on his own turn, it's lights out for for Matt. So
All right, we're seeing that other part still at the end of Mars's turn. We're seeing the Scarab God bring back that Jace.
yep, absolutely.
So
All right.
now something that's interesting
And all of
here
this
with
resolves.
this version of Saheeli versus the green version that we saw more previously, the 4-color version, is that the Felidar Guardian on its own doesn't seem to do very much on this board. I mean, it could blink Gideon, it could blink a land, but that's about all that he really has. He doesn't have those Oaths of Nissa that are always floating around.
Have you been
I think
watching
that's
this?
a little bit of the weakness of this version.
Have you been watching this deck much?
I haven't seen it in action yet, so I'm excited to see it here. Have you seen a lot of other things that it can blink?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I've noticed that the Gideon and Felidar combo is insane. Like, it's just absolutely nuts. Because like the things that Gideon already does are great. So it can do stuff like if you're ticking up your Gideon ally of Zendikar, you can attack and then blink it and then make a knight, or you can ultimate Gideon and then make a knight. And then like you can start getting like multiple emblems. Like it's really crazy. So yeah. Particularly I've been watching Thomas Snodgrass play, and this is actually his list. And the dirty things that you can do with the cat in this list are pretty impressive. So
all right, now this is interesting. He's going to use that. So he's going to swing the Gideon plus on the Gearhulk last turn.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's swinging with that new 4/4 Jace and with the Scarab God, both at the Gideon that's at 4, the large one, the ally of Zendikar.
Mm-hmm.
He's blocked with the Knight ally on the Scarab God and is also throwing in a Lightning Strike. So this is going to be able to kill the Scarab God, but all it does is put it in the graveyard. He doesn't have any graveyard hate to get it from there out of the game completely.
Yep, absolutely. So we're going to be seeing the Scarab God go back to hand at the end of turn.
So
Which
what
does
we'd like to see is that Mars wants to capitalize on that and hope that he taps out for the Scarab God, use that to throw off the combo. I think that's his only real way back into this game.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that hand is loaded. I feel like it's so hard to see Mars coming back from this.
We're looking
one.
at 6 cards to 2 cards, and we assume that one of those cards is a negate for the possible combo here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way the combo gets down. So
Probably the Vraska's Contempt as well.
yeah, he has been sandbagging the Vraska's Contempt, so he's got multiple answers.
All right, so we've got a Gideon plus on the Torrential Gearhulk again,
We've got-
and looks like for 4, we're going to blink possibly the Gideon of Trials here.
Yeah, so he could blank both of the attacks. But then again, we've got 2 Vraska's Contempts in Zed's hand right now. So
Yeah, so actually, I want to see if we're going to have any response from Zed here, because this doesn't seem like a bad chance to kill the Gideon in response.
yeah, totally. Yep. It looks like that's what we see come out.
All right, and we also see a problem here is the way that Mars tapped, he's not able to play the other Gideon that's sitting in his hand. All right, so he's just going to scoop here.
He
That
could have
looks
played
like
the other Gideon, actually. He had a Battlefield Forge and a Glacial Chasm.
Oh, was that a Battlefield? I
Yeah.
thought that was a Shivan Reef. I may have been viewing it wrong. Okay, so there, he's scooping to that. He says, that's over. I'm not coming back from that. I know how much is in his hand.
So
Let's talk sideboards real quick.
Hold on,
I've actually
hold
got
on.
these prepared up here.
I'm gonna need you to take over for a little bit. I've got to handle something here.
Take over how?
Take over just your soloing commentary right now.
Oh, okay, great. So as long as
Yeah.
they can hear me, that's fine. So we're going to look at these 2 lists here. Starting with the losing list, this Jeskai Saheeli list. He's got 3 Erishan Cleric, 3 Authority of the Councils, 2 Negate, 2 Dispel, 1 Search for his Canto of his own, 1 Abrade, 1 Radiant Flames, and 2 Roast. So he's got a few things here that I want to immediately look at to possibly bring in. The biggest thing that I want to bring out of the deck are those sweepers. So this deck's really relying on the opponent was going to play a bunch of creatures to try and get around these Gideons. You're going to sweep it all away with his 2 Radiant Flames main deck and his 3 Fumigate main deck. So he wants to pull those 5 out. And then on top of that, I'm trying to see if there's anything else he really wants to get rid of. Probably not. Those are at least the 5 that I would immediately want to get rid of. I might want to get rid of those Wild Slash if he has anything to get in, because they're not going to really trade as a creature in this matchup. So the first things I would definitely bring in, those negates are definitely coming in. That Search for Escanta looks great. It looked good on the other side of the field. That's going to look good on his side of the field. So I want to get that in here. Other than that, he doesn't have a lot of options. The Dispels might be okay. He saw Dig come through already. He saw those Vraska's Contempt. Those would be great cards to hit with the Dispel. And then outside of that, that would be the 5 probably if he's just doing the sweepers. I think there might be some value to looking at a Braid. So the players do know each other's deck lists. in addition to the gear hulks he saw, he also would know that there are the Peaking Needle, the new Sorcerer's Spyglass, possibly coming in out of the side deck from our blue-black control player. So I'm going to move over to his deck. In his sideboard, he's got 2 Dispel, 4 Gifted Aetherborn, 1 Infinite Obliteration, 2 Cletus Trader of Get, 1 Negate, 2 Sorcerer's Spyglass, 1 Sphinx with his final word, another copy of the Scarab God, and another copy of Vraska's Contempt. So I can immediately see a couple things I really want. That Vraska's Contempt coming in. I want that 4th Negate, and I think I want that Infinite Obliteration. That might be a good way to proactively stop the combo. Although it won't be great if he's on the back foot against all those Gideons. The things that I would look at in his deck to really bring out, he also is running a number of sweepers, so he's got those 2 Languish. I would first want to bring those out. He also has those Essence Scatter, which only counter a creature spell. Look at those. I don't think that those are going to be worth holding on to. So I'll just bring up things that we might want to bring out of that blue-black list. I see the Essence Scatter. I see the 2 Languishes.
I've actually got a view into what he did sideboard in, so I'm going to go ahead and share that.
Great.
It looks like Matt brought in a Negate, 2 Dispel, 2 Sorceress Spyglasses, and a Vraska's Contempt, and took out his Liliana, the Last Hope, both of them, both of his Languishes, and both of his Crux of Fates.
So that's interesting. I think it's really strange that he's leaving in those that counterspell, the Essence Scatter.
Essence
I
Scatter?
think there's not a lot. I don't think there's enough things to hit out of his deck to make those really worth it. I might have looked at the Infinite Obliteration, maybe even the Cletus of Get to bring more threats in.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't like bringing out the Liliana as well, because I think that that's a good way to push in another win condition, which you're going to go long in this game. If you don't see the Scarab God, then it's going to be tough for you.
Most definitely. Yeah. I also think it's really curious that he kept the Scarab God.
Hey, that's what I was telling you. As I was going to say, is it looked really good there. There's no good way, even looking at the sideboards, he can see his opponent's deck, he can see his opponent's sideboard. He knows that there's no way to answer that card. All right, so we are starting off here with a couple tap lands. We've got a Sunken Hollow, and we've got a Prairie Stream into a Battlefield Forge with a Jace on that side. So turn 2, get Jace once again.
Yep. Really, really consistent output of that turn 2 Jace. So, all right.
And here we see the value of those check lands. He's got the Sunken Hollow on 1. He's got the, what is that one called? Drowned Catacomb on 2. And that means right away he gets to go ahead and have both of his colors.
It looks like we're going to get to... We don't even have to, ask Seuss for his hand. We're just going to see it right here. So,
all right, perfect. So we're seeing this Sorcerer's Spyglass out of Ixalan. It's as Sorcerer's Spyglass enters the battlefield. Oh, well, they can read it on their screen, right? You've got the
yep, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, great. So this looks like a decent hand out of Mars, but the fact that he's got this Spyglass here might poke a big hole in it. So what do you think he wants to take here? He can take the fetch land, he can take the Saheeli Rai, or he can go for the Gideon, which you think is going to be the eventual play. He could also name the Jace that's already in play and shut that down.
He could, yeah, totally. We could just say, so let's consider what we have coming out. So I'm scrolling up here to Matt's hand. He's got 2 Negates, an Essence Scatter, of Vraska's Contempt, and a Dig.
So I think you can see where that Essence Scatter doesn't look great here.
Yeah, most definitely.
So he's naming Saheeli Rai with it, so he's worried most about the combo. He knows that this was what would be the turn 3 play. I don't think that's unreasonable. So now instead here, he's going to get a Jace Loot, he's going to get to crack that Flooded Strand, and have mana for Opt as well as Negate here, which is pretty powerful.
I just want to note that Matt has named Saheeli Rai, not Saheeli Rai, so... I don't see how he comes back from this one. I mean, if you can't name the card correctly, you know. All right, I'm really curious to know what the draw was for Seuss. Something else notable about this matchup is that after a while, there's an Urborg that can come down, and it helps both players because neither of them have to fetch, and the pain lands that Mars has can tap for black instead of pain. So
now that'll be interesting. I think that almost helps Mars more than it'll help Zed. If I were him, I might hold that back for a while, especially with the Flooded Strand in play, and that also kind of weakens the Sorcerer's Spyglass plan.
All right, so it looks like Mars is leaving the shields up. doesn't want to know what Zed's got going on. And we do have a negate in hand. I mean, it's total transparency here. So
yeah, he's got the negate in hand. He's got the opt if he wants to play that as well. So he's got a lot of options here.
Yeah, most definitely. It looks like we're going for an end of turn loot on Jace. So little actual baby Jace. Going for the classic Jace thing.
So something I was looking at from the sideboard of the Saheeli list here is that he's got an extra copy of a Braid in the sideboard. Do you think that's something he wanted to bring in? I was saying it might be an option that hits Torrential Gearhulk as well as hits the Spyglass if he thinks that his opponent's going to be bringing that in.
Did you get a report from Seuss about what he boarded in?
Let me see if I've got any notice from him. I don't currently have any report from Seuss.
Cool. We will request it.
I will let him know that we'd like to see that.
Yeah, totally. Because, yeah, I do think a Braid is really good, honestly. There's quite a few pivotal artifacts in this matchup against Seuss. So, yeah.
So what I was going to say is that the one reason why he pretty much where he would be seen to take it out is that Wild Slash spot or maybe the Lightning Strike spot. I can see a Braid over a Wild Slash probably. The one reason I would say to keep Wild Slash is that it would be able to hit those Lilianas, but it sounds like we've actually gotten those taken out now, which I think is interesting.
Yeah,
I think that
definitely.
if he knows those Lilianas are not there, that he might change up how he sideboards here.
Yep, and both players do have access to each other's sideboards, so no one's playing in the dark here.
They don't know how each other sideboarded, though, so that's pretty interesting.
But they have played against each other a lot, so it's not quite as much of a head game as just playing a stranger. Something to note that I want to talk about a little bit as we are idle here is that just how powerful Opt is and what kind of changes it has presented to the metagame. Saheeli for a really, really long time has been a 4-color list with green for those Oath of Nissas and for those Renegade Ralliers to get back Jaces and to fix mana. And so seeing it now as just a 3-color deck, it's honestly doing pretty well. I think the two things that the Saheeli list got that allowed it to drop its splash was Opt and having like an actual cantrip that is effective and instant speed, and then also the Planeswalker uniqueness rule changing to just the legendary rule.
Yeah, I think that's been huge. That's also been a good reason for them to push more into white, which is why we're looking at that 3-color.
Yep, absolutely. Whereas like Gideon used to be a sideboard card. Now he's
It used
just
to be a sideboard card. Fumigate used to be a hard card to hit because getting that double white was tricky, and now it's their main game plan almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so it sounds like Seuss might be reporting his sideboard.
I think that
too.
we distracted him by asking him about his sideboard. I was worried here looking at him sitting on those 3 lands. I mean, he just opted. He just looted. He just opted. I was like, I hope he's not stuck on these 3 lands.
Way in the tank right now. Yeah, he just dumped half the hand that Matt has already seen. So looking fine right now. So it looks like we might be seeing a Gideon come down, but it is not going to resolve, sadly. Matt has absolutely got a couple negates in hand, so he's ready for Planeswalkers.
So he did not fetch for a white here, so if he's going to want to do a double white, he's going to have to take some pain off of that, which is interesting. Now, it's also wondering, he got that Gideon countered last turn. Is he going to try and wait this time? Is he going to try and get that?
Looks like we're about to see a Jace
so he's
flip.
fetching. Yeah, he's flipping. He's looting with his Jace first. So if there's some kind of response, then that would put him out of range of being able to stop the game.
That's a really good play. That's a really, really good play. So basically the decision process there was, do you let Jace flip? Okay. Then if Jace doesn't flip, then I will land this Gideon. But then at the same time, by the same token, there's a Vraska's Contempt in Matt's hand. So he could have gotten a 2-for-1 there, however, or a 2-for-2 there. But it looks like we are comfortable with the Jace things that Jace can do. So, curious to see.
So was that also holding a Fatal Push there? That's what I was wondering.
I haven't gotten a hand check from Matt recently. If you want to grab it from him.
Okay, I'll try and bother him for that. But he did know about that Gideon there, so he knew that
he
did tap out and try and kill that Jace, that the Gideon would be coming down.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a reveal on the Gideon. I mean, we're both looking at that. So
this is great. It looks like we've got what might be a big through time. turn.
Yeah, this looks like a dig.
And I always like this because even if he isn't able to push through the dig here, untapping and slamming Gideon seems pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. He wants his opponent to... Okay, interesting. So we see a Censor come out.
Now that's strong.
That's very efficient use of mana right there. Especially considering that he's still leaving up a negate for the Gideon. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that he did know was in the deck, but it's something we didn't see game one. He maybe was thinking... He might not have thought that he would have kept it in there if he had a lot to sideboard in. But that was a big pickup for him to get that counter spell off of the Censor. It's always a good feeling when you hit that.
So something to note is that Seuss could have completely delved out his graveyard to leave up an extra mana, but he chose to leave his Opt in his graveyard. Could have possibly proven to be a poor choice for him here.
So now he's fleshing back that Opt right now with the Jace. He's trying to get a little bit of value from it before it maybe gets killed with a Vraska's Contempt. So I think that's good. If you try and build up in that Jace and then it all gets taken down at once, then you really didn't get any value from it at all. So here he cashed it in for a +1 card, and now in the future, if he kills that with a Vraska's Contempt or something, then that's still card advantage for Mars.
Yeah, most definitely. So what's going to be interesting to see here is it looks like we might have a counter war coming up. It looks like
that land going
on.
He played another swamp, so he's just sitting there on 5 lands, but we now have Mars was our starting player, so he's up to 6 lands. And now he's got another white source, which is nice. He won't have to take any pain off of that.
Yep.
It looks like he's probably going for this Gideon, and he knows about the negate in hand, so we'll see if there will be a war. He'll see if he's got 2 counterspells for it.
I anticipate he does. I do recall there being mention of a disallow. So we'll probably see a negate come out here, responding with another negate. Yep. And then probably a disallow on top of this negate. Oh, an Opt.
Well,
ooh.
so it doesn't look like he has it yet, so maybe having to dig for the chance of maybe another counterspell here. So the other Censor would work, or any of the 3 other negates he has now.
Yep.
Now, in some ways, this might have been better for Mars to try and fight it at the end of Zed's turn. So then he would have been able to, if he had been doing this, so he's got this spell.
That's brutal. That's exactly what you want in a counter war.
That 1 mana spell that trumps anything here.
Yeah, it turns out most counters are instants. Yeah, so if you can counter an instant spell, you can counter the counter.
Alright, so we got a Westvale Abbey coming out of Zed's side, so that's something interesting. He now has that as an option. He's got 5 mana in the Westvale Abbey. Could start pumping out 1/1s if he thinks that's a route to victory here. Yeah,
so I have talked to Matt about why he runs Westvale Abbey, because usually I would consider it more of an option for dedicated token decks. It's also something that White Weenie likes to run, because you get like this massive ground stall going on with all your big buff 1/1s. And
so we see Weenies running it, we see Elves running it, we see those decks trying to flip it. Is this deck really ever going to flip the Westvale Abbey, or is it just there to make those 1/1s that it can, block an entire attack, save you a bunch of life that way?
Right, yeah. So my understanding so far is that there are opportunities specifically in the mirror match to flip Westvale Abbey. So getting an Ormondal out on the battlefield can prove to be pretty advantageous. So yeah, I'm really curious. It looks like this second Gideon might be coming down and resolving.
All right, I don't see any response out of... Sorry, I'll start calling him Matt now, right? Or it is Matt, right?
Matt is, Matt's the top player.
All right, I'll stop calling him Zed. I know that's his...
It's really tempting, right?
Ooh, so in response to this Gideon here, we're getting the Gear Hulk, and that's going to be big. So if this resolves, which I don't know if there's a 2-mana way for Mars to interact with that. Then he'll probably be flashing back. Yep, then a gate here. Ooh, well, it does look like he might have something on 2, so we might be able to negate this negate here.
Negate in response.
Right,
that's
so
an answer.
Negates the negate, but the Gear Hulk still resolves, which is still a big problem. He'll be able to chump it for some amount of time, but that's not a great plan in the long term.
Yeah, probably not. Oh, was that a flashed back negate?
So yes, yes, that's right. He had flashed back that negate earlier in the turn, preempting this action.
Yeah, totally.
So we were fixated on the Westvale Abbey here. So we swing with the Torrential Gear Hulk. We'll probably just see a chump here.
That's what I anticipate, yeah.
You think he's swinging at Gideon, or does it not even matter? Looks like it didn't even matter.
I mean, he was going to get chumped anyway, so...
Yeah. Well, if he had swung at Mars, do you think we'd have chumped there, or do you think we'd rather build up a second knight?
I mean, he's been holding on to a Vraska's Contempt for this whole game.
Yeah. So, all right, we've got a Search for Azcanta coming out from that side, and then going back to Mars. So, well, we have a second here. The Westvale Abbey, that's one of those things that he gets to add in because he's only on 2 colors, unlike the Grixis decks that we've seen here.
Right, correct.
But in exchange, we're not getting to see that delicious Kolaghan's Command, which is just such a good 2-for-1 against a lot of decks.
It is almost always a 2-for-1. It can kill a Gear Hulk, which is fantastic.
And it can bring back your own Gear Hulk and just play that war.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. That's where you really get crazy on the dig Gear Hulk dig war, right? Oh, it looks like
we're getting a Felidar Guardian here.
It looks like we might see a bounced Gideon.
So if you're thinking about
disallowed Felidar Guardian. All right, cool. And then any responses from Zeus?
Is still locked down from the Sorcerer's Spyglass, but we did see that he discarded that to the Jace earlier in the game.
Yeah, most definitely. And then furthermore, he not expelled. He exiled it with his dig through time. So
yes,
yeah.
So on the topic of lands, so he just made that knight pass the turn. Nothing too exciting there. But on the topic of lands, the one we haven't seen yet is Field of Ruin. He's got 2 of those in Matt's list here. Now that's actually something I'm really interested in here. Looking through Mars' list, you know what I do not see is any basic mountains.
Yeah, so he could really take him off of red mana.
So yes, one Field of Ruin would be able to take him off of red mana. In this situation, he does have the 2 of them. It would only take him off of the Spirebuff Canal, which would leave him with a Battlefield Forge, which is bad but not awful. Alright, so a Fatal Push is coming through, clears the way that he can swing in against this Jace, so he's targeting the Jace. He wouldn't be able to kill the Gideon in one hit.
No, he wouldn't, yeah.
On the Torrential Gear Hold previously. But that takes care of the Jace, who did get quite a bit of value. He got 2 extra cards out of it, as well as those loots earlier in the game, which got a dead card out of his hand.
Yeah, most definitely. Something to note is that both players are pretty much out of gas at this point in time. Can we get hand checks?
Mars has 2 cards. We've got 1 on Matt's side. Now, Matt does have 5 cards in the yard, and he's got that Search for Azcanta in place. So that's going to flip and start being able to produce something of more value. But we'll see here first what Mars has coming out of his deck. Oh, looks like another Jace. Now, if he was holding back that Essence Scatter, maybe he'll get paid off for it here. Oh, no, he's going to cycle off Fetid Pools. He psyched me out here. 2 mana, what else could he be doing? Nope, but it's the Fetid Pools. He's cycling that. He gets a new card to look at. Now, interestingly, that's also going to put 6 in his yard, so Search for Azcanta this turn is going to be able to flip.
And is that on upkeep? At the beginning of your upkeep, blah, 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 flip. All right, cool.
It looks, and then you get to put 1 in the graveyard, and then it checks if you have 7 cards.
Got it. So that will be a lot of card advantage.
That top card right now. Yep. All right. So while we're here, I've got that answer back from our Jeskai player. He brought in a Braid, which was the one I was asking about. He brought in the 2 Negate, the 2 Dispel. He brought in the Search for Azcanta. He also brought in 2 Roast, which I did not expect. So he dropped 2 Radiant Flames, the 2 Wild Slash, 1 Fumigates, which means he left 2 of them in, and he took out 3 Lightning Strike.
Neat.
Okay, so he left in Fumigate. I think that's a big thing that we didn't expect there. And he also brought in those Roasts, which it still doesn't kill the Torrential Gear Hulk right away. It could take Scarab God away for a turn, which may or may not be worth it.
And it's also a sorcery, if memory serves me right.
Yes, it is. 1 mana, or 1 colorless, 1 red mana.
Yeah, for 5 damage.
To a non-flying creature, which I don't think flying is going to matter in this game.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that one.
Unless if we get an Ormondal flip. I think that's the only source here.
You know, that's also a solid point, yeah.
Not sure I'd want to roast Ormondal anyways. Alright, so this Vraska's Contempt is coming out here. Now that's a big one for him to have drawn.
Oh, this might be getting negated.
Ooh, wait,
This is a sorcery.
hang on. He may have played the wrong card there.
Yeah,
So
it's
what
true.
happened there is that he probably viewed that Vraska's Contempt on top, decided, I'm going to leave that there rather than putting it in my graveyard. That's why we didn't see the Search for Azcanta flip. So instead, all right, we're getting that Vraska's Contempt works. Jace is gone.
And we do know now that he has a roast in hand, so
Which is not great.
definitely
in
not.
This current position. All right, but he's got 3 cards to work with. We don't know what the last card in Matt's hand is either. He's going to 0 Gideon again, get another Knight Ally, hopefully be able to block with it, and let's see what else he can do. All right, he's got another Jace. Well, they just keep coming. He's going to keep playing them. So in some ways, I don't know if I mind that Fumigate. It's going to be able to kill the Gear Hulk, which nothing else he has really is going to be able to do easily. It also, if that Scarab God is there doing a bunch of damage, he'll be able to take care of that. All right, so he found a land on top, put it in the graveyard, so that's value on its own.
Yep, absolutely. I think we're seeing both players pretty much where they want to be on mana. So having more lands right now is not much of an advantage to have.
Yeah, which is, on one hand, it almost might have made sense to leave the Search for Azcanta down there, depending on whether he values the Scry one, or the effective Scry one, or he values that ability to use it more. I think with nothing else to do here, it makes sense for him to flip it over.
Yeah, most definitely.
Ability. All right, so he swings, block with the Knight Ally, nothing too exciting there.
Oh, it looks like we have our friend... our friend Rasmus chiming in.
The Jace tries to loot, and what are we going to see here? Oh, we're going to see the Okay, so he's going to activate that Search for Azcanta, try to find some action.
Yeah.
All right, so he does reveal of Vraska's Contempt, but he does not have the mana to use it right now.
Okay.
That's one of the best cards in this matchup, and he found it, so that's going to put him in a great spot. Either way, he'll be able to take care of this Jace or this Gideon. And we are just nowhere closer to Mars being able to put this game away. I mean, he's not pressuring the life totals, he's not close to the combo with that Saheeli Rai still named on the Sorcerer's Spyglass.
Definitely not. But he did bring in the Abrade, anticipating the Sorcerer's Spyglass, and there are definitely a couple of targets that he can hit with an Abrade. So
what I might like to see here is maybe a minus on Jace, try and get something like that, dig through time back in here. Get him a little bit of a hand buffer to try and win through this game.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what Seuss needs right now. There's definitely the risk of it getting countered. However, I think that's what you go for.
Yeah, I think the alternative is that if he plus Jace, try to wait till he has maybe a counter backup, we could just get that Vraska's Contempt right on the Jace, and then it's gone completely.
And it looks like we see a Disallow come out, so... Oh!
Well, we may have some action.
Got an answer.
Well. So
hey, remember that one time when you dispelled during the counter war? Well, I can do that too. Yeah.
So that's quite a bit of value from Mars' side. And if that puts him quite a bit ahead, we know the last card in Matt's hand here is that Vraska's Contempt.
Yep, so we've got the Vraska's Contempt in Matt's hand. We know that we've got at least just the roast. I'd like to see into this dig. Yeah. So if we could get Seuss to update us on what he's seeing on this dig.
I just sent him a message as well.
Cool. So it looks like we see a Teen Gideon coming into hand for Seuss and Opt. There's a lot of lands in this dig, evidently. Okay. And so the current hand that we have for Seuss is Roast, Negate, Teen Gideon, also known as Gideon of the Trials, and Opt. And then
those negates keep being useful, and again, that Opt looks great here. So we'll be holding up 3 mana. That's enough for Negate plus Opt.
Yeah. And
so if Matt tries for a high value play, tries to get rid of the blocker and get a swing in with the Torrential Gear Hulk, that would put him really far behind then.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so Gearhulk
He's
in.
making the smarter play. He's just swinging straight for the Jace, sees that as higher value than the Gideon. I'm going to chump with the ally again.
All right, and I guess the question here is what Vraska's Contempt targets.
Well, and also whether he thinks he needs to do it right now. So the Jace on 2 isn't a real big threat. It's whether or not he wants to get rid of that Gideon so that the Torrential Gearhulk can start swinging through for real. Otherwise, he'll be in. Otherwise, he can hold on to it. Hopefully, be able to find something like a negate backup off that as Kanta. We just have the players rearranging their lands a little bit here. It looks like he's got 3 of those Drownyard Catacombs.
I'm politely asking Matt to rearrange his lands. He's got one hiding right here underneath his other drowned catacomb.
Yeah, so I think that Matt's expecting that Mars just had a chance to dig. If he has a negate, right now it's probably pretty likely that he would have one.
Yeah.
So it's possible he could use the Azcanta, maybe find a Dispel. That's the only real way he could then play the Vraskas and have the Dispel back up. But that also leaves him completely tapped out. I don't think that's something he wants to do on his own turn. So
Probably
we might
not.
See that maybe end
he can
step.
be patient.
We're not going to see that right now.
Oh. I have a friend messaging me about a spirit that I got earlier. Oh,
Right,
yep.
so
He's like, I want to see.
So end
I
step,
wanna
Mars
see.
goes for the opt. He responds with the Vraskal's Attempt, and we get that negate out of hand.
Yep.
So that worked out perfectly for Mars. He's going to be
Absolutely.
able to untap with all this mana.
This
and
is
there's
so
nothing else
rare.
for Arthas to do right now. I'm actually. Do you think that Arthas should have tried to dig for that last Dispel in his deck, or do you think that would be too risky to completely tap out?
I just want to note really quick that this game is really turned around.
Yeah, I think that we thought that Matt had a big stranglehold on it with all those cards in hand, and now we're seeing 4 cards to 0. This Gearhulk it's sat around for a while, but it's really just a beater once it's in play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a vanilla 5/6 once it's, on the ground. I mean, you can have it die, and then, and it looks like it can just get blanked every turn. Now, we might see in response a return to Azcanta, but there's nothing that can be cast for 1 mana that's going to be able to counter this. So maybe he just does it end of turn.
That makes more sense.
Sorry, we need to be talking about it in its land form. Azcanta, the Sunken Rune trigger.
Yes, but now we are seeing a search from the Azcanta on the other side of the field. I'm really happy to see this card.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the best boons to control. I'm very much an apologist that we didn't mention it on the podcast.
We did mention it. We just didn't put it in one of our top cards, I think.
Oh,
We
yeah,
brought it
totally.
up again there.
It's definitely a tiny edge that control decks can
Come
levy
on, Kevin,
against
have you
each
listened
other.
to our latest podcast?
It's all about those tiny edges.
No, I just meant I was making fun of you for not giving us a listen. We could certainly use the listeners.
I actually listened to it twice. Thanks. I'm 2 of the 15
go.
listens. Yeah.
Oh, so here he had the Dispel on top. He could have gone for that play when he went for the Rascal Contempt.
He could have. Yes.
Yeah, that was him just activating the Azcanta at
Yeah.
the end of Mars' turn. So he could have been able to get rid of that. Would have been able to get rid of that Gideon, put him in a much better spot.
Where do you think the advantage bar is right now?
Oh, I think it's strongly in Mars' favor here. He
Yeah.
still needs a way to win, so I don't see a very big win plan yet. The Gearhulk is still able to block that Gideon if he swings with just the one of them. He could swing with both, but then that kind of puts him at risk of losing something on the swing back.
So what do you think about getting aggressive with Gideon right now?
That's kind of what I was just talking about. I don't think that he's there yet. I would want some kind of backup, especially now knowing that there's a spell in Matt's hand.
He's been holding on to a roast for a really long time. So just seeing a
that's-
chump with Gearhulk could... Oh, well.
Well, well, no, that was a one.
Oh, that
he
was a
just
second
Looked at
roast.
the top of his deck,
Okay.
saw a second roast, threw that in the graveyard. He doesn't want that, and I think that's the right choice there.
Yeah,
Now, what
absolutely.
might be more interesting is he's got those fumigates hiding out here. If you were to fumigate and then swing with both Gideons, that would be some more value.
Yeah.
Although that would be a situation where he could use that Westvale Abbey, throw a guy in front of one of those Gideons, only lose 1 life there, lose 5 total. But that will eventually be a way for him to win if that's what he needs to do.
Yeah, most definitely. All right.
All right, so you're going to be afraid, and we're going to dispel back from it.
Oh.
Where that afraid was targeting. I'm curious if he would have gone for the Gear Hulk with that, or if he'd rather go for the Spyglass, try and get that out of the way, and try and go for the combo eventually.
I mean, he can get it back later. That Abrade is nice and safe in his graveyard, and that's a place where you like it to be if you're this Healy player. So
that's definitely true. So he could have pinched him on. So if he wants to use it back now, so he is pinched on that red mana. If that's somewhere that if we had that Field of Ruin, might be able to get him down to the 1 red mana. Be a good spot for it.
Okay, so the question is,
future.
All right, no, we just see another Night Ally come out. Looks like.
No, that's right. So just Night Ally. Looks like we're going to get a tick up on the Gideon, targeting the Gear Hulk. So just gonna kind of stall for another turn, get some more ticks on Jace. Jace, of course, if he gets to 9, that's another win con.
All right, and
seen plenty of times.
Rasmus was chiming in earlier saying that the flip ability is a May on Search for Azcanta, and I am proven, wrong on that. He is correct. So
yes, that is a May, which is nice. It means that you can have a second one in play at the same time and not be punished for that. If you have one on the backside, one on the front side. Now, the other interesting thing here, I'm going to keep talking about Field of Ruin, is that if this Search for Azcanta flips and he gets a Field of Ruin, well, there you go. He'll be able to take care of that.
All right, so something that's really interesting about Azcanta is that you have to reveal the threats that you're bringing in. So essentially, what Matt's saying here is don't play your cap.
Yeah, he's saying don't play the cat. So we just revealed that Essence Scatter. I'm not a fan of that he kept that in here, but it's going to keep him off of the cat. Might be all right if it eventually tries to go for a combo, but I think right now he has better ways to win than trying to get Saheeli Rai and Felidar Guardian at the same time.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we know that Matt's still holding that Dispel, he's holding that Essence Scatter. Well, we'll see where that goes. we don't know what it is that Mars is holding right. But he's kind of in the driver's seat at this point.
So both players in the tank at the moment.
He's definitely thinking there's not a lot that he can really do with his mana here. He's trying to think what he can do. I mean, we know that he's got a bunch of reactive cards in hand, but none of those are going to be able to take care of the Gideons that are going to be beating him down pretty soon. See, with those 2 blockers, I'd probably feel comfortable turning on those Gideons and starting to get in there for some damage, and that's going to be really hard to stop. Especially if he took note of that roast he accidentally dropped earlier, knows that he can't really block with this Gear Hulk.
Or he could just have assumed that Seuss thought that roast was a shitty card for the moment. So, yeah. There's all sorts of assumptions that can be coming into play.
All right, so we heard about how they sideboarded. Seeing this game, do you think they're going to change anything up when we go to Game 3 here? If right now,
assuming that Seuss wins? Yeah.
Yes, assuming right now that Seuss wins. It looks like he's in the driver's seat.
I agree. I think that the advantage bar has definitely taken a big swing in Seuss's favor.
Yeah, but we haven't heard what Twitch thinks.
All right. What does Twitch think right now, guys?
All right, so 2 Night Allies. Do you think when it passes back he's going to start swinging here, or do you think he's rather just hold on forever, wait for that Jace to take up to 9 and win that?
I know what I would do. Personally,
you want to get aggressive?
I want to get aggressive, yeah. I want to start writing out my win cons, So
what is he afraid of here? Is he afraid of seeing Scarab God come out for Matt?
What is he afraid of?
Dig Through Time?
Dig Through Time would be rough. Getting more Vraskas.
getting more Vraskas, getting more Gearhulks maybe, getting Scarab God, who brings back a Gearhulk, who brings back a Vraskas, backed up by Dispel in his hand.
I'm just going to give a quick update here.
So I think what we're waiting on right now is that we don't have a token for the 1/1 that comes out of Westvale Abbey. He doesn't have it in his sideboard. We don't have a great way to represent that. I think we're going to end up just representing it with a blank token. So at our viewers at home, you'll just have to know what that is. So there's so many people on this blue-black deck. Is this going to be kind of the... What are people going to be trying to learn from this matchup right here?
So
I think a lot of people are going to be watching it because this is two of the decks that we are expecting to do so well in.
These are two of the decks that you have to beat, right? It's these two and a Tarka Red. Like if you
and
weren't
Band Company.
I mean that's my list. But I'm the only person on Band Company right now, so
hey, I'm on Band Company.
All right, that's fair, but you're on a bit of a alternative build of Band Company. We'll just call it that.
Just a little bit. Yeah. all right. But back to the question: what do you think people are going to be watching for this matchup?
So the thing that happens with all of these new card advantage options, like the blue and Ixalan, is just really, really impressive. I think that's hard to disagree with at this point. The things to watch out for are, like, you've lost when you have no cards in hand and your control opponent has 7 cards in hand.
All right, so we've got some action here at the beginning of... So Matt asked, and then during the upkeep of Mars's turn, he's playing this Vraska's Contempt, targeting the Jace.
And it looks like we're fine with that. So
looks like that resolves. Okay.
Do you anticipate...
Maybe the search for Azcanta going off, anything like that. He's only got 5 in the yard, so we're not going to see that flip yet, unlike the one on the other side.
I'm really curious to know. So we've got 2 Vraska's Contempts in the yard, all three Vraska's Contempts in the yard.
I believe that there was also one in the sideboard, so let me check here. So he had 2 main deck and 1 in the sideboard, so that's all 3 of them now.
So now we're completely relying on Gearhulks for Vraska's.
There is one never to return, which is going to be able to also do that same effect, just not at instant speed.
Yeah, that's true.
So something I've been loving about Opt here is that previously there wouldn't be something really cheap for Jace to get immediate value out of. So early in that game we saw the Jace flashback that Opt, get an extra card out of him, and that wouldn't be something possible until Ixalan. That's a real boon for any kind of Jace deck here.
Any kind of blue deck, really. I mean...
Yeah, any kind of blue deck. I mean, if you're a blue deck and you're not on Jace, what are you doing? Unless if you're, me and you.
Personally, I Reflector Mage. I don't know about you, but I just like to
Jace
reflect.
Human, what are you doing?
So it's funny you should say that, because I pulled Jeremy Desani's list as the I guess my foundation for my Human Company list. And he originally ran Jace. Right? He was running a singleton copy of Jace Prince Prodigy. And,
but what he was not running was our good friend Thalia.
No, he wasn't. He didn't even have one in the sideboard, which was really curious.
So I can see why you made that cut. I can see why Jace might come out for more Thalias.
Yeah, so switching to heavy Thalia was like one of the first things that I did. And what I eventually cut Jace for was Abzan Falconer. So...
Okay, so going back to the game here, we did see a little bit of aggression, but we kind of saw partial aggression. We saw the one Gideon tick up and target the Gearhulk, the other one ticked up and swung.
Yeah, and that's what I anticipated this turn, so...
So that makes sense. He doesn't want to go fully aggressive, try and swing with both, be forced to use those allies to block. Oh, here we go. So that never return is coming out. And that's going to have value on both sides of it, because he's going to be able to target something from the graveyard that he might want to get rid of. Maybe that Opt, maybe a counterspell. There's nothing huge as a target in the graveyard right now, but even just getting rid of something... Actually, probably he could get rid of... Let me think what he might want to get rid of if he wants to get rid of anything. Maybe the Abrade would be good. It kills any of this creature or frees up the combo. Of cards in the yard right now, that's probably the most worthwhile one.
So if you're Seuss here, what's your thought process?
So I'm worried that he got that never to return. I'm hoping that I have a counterspell in hand. That's probably what I'm hoping for.
Can we get a hand check on Seuss?
Sure, let's see what he's got going on.
Cool.
Especially if he's sitting here thinking.
Just
Now,
thinking,
the other thing
stinking.
Now, depending on what he has on top, if he never and immediately casts the return, that might also hold him back from flipping that Search for Azcanta for yet another turn. Just that little bit of value. So he's thinking here. So we know the never to return in Matt's hand. We know about the... Well, he's got that Dispel still, so even if there was a counterspell coming, that wouldn't be great in this match. And he knows about the counterspell. You still there with me, Kevin?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to. I apologize for those of you who haven't been reading along in the Discord. I anticipate that my roommates might be having band practice because I'm hearing a lot of doors slamming and foot stomping. So I was quickly texting both of my roommates to find out if there's that in fact going on, and if that is the case, then we'll have to call this stream short.
That's understandable. Well, then maybe you have to start rooting for Matt then.
Yeah, so something to note is that Team Gideon definitely did go down. Did we get a hand check on Seuss?
We did not, but I believe the last time we saw one, we had another one of those Gideons waiting in the wings there, so that may be able to come up. So it's interesting, he did do the never, not the return part of it, so he didn't want to tap out that badly.
I mean... You can't just let the combo come down, you know?
Mm-hmm. But he also went for the Gideon of the Trials and not the Gideon ally. So he's going to be able to keep if he wants. All right, so he's getting cheeky. He's getting in with these two Knight allies.
Yeah.
Now, that means his blockers are gone there. So
no, he can make another Knight.
He can make another Knight, which is a little risky. He can also, if he has that Gideon of the Trials in hand, he can throw that down and have another blocker here.
Yeah,
so what happened at the
definitely.
beginning of the turn there, we didn't have the never to return take anything away, so we did get a flip on that Search for Azcanta. Now it's the Azcanta Sunken Rune. Gives him a little bit of extra mana, or he can float and try and get a card at the end of Matt's turn here.
So how do you think that the Gideon tribes... How do you think that the Gideon tribe stands up to the tribes of Azcanta? Sorry, of Ixalan. Do you think that dinosaurs or Gideons are a better tribe?
Gideon seems like a good tribe. So far, Gideon, it's looked decent. I think that if you're on the back foot, the Gideons are a little bit weak. They're not quite as good as something like a Siege Rhino that would just, stabilize the board on its own.
Yeah, that's true.
If they've got 3 attackers, even playing 1 or 2 of the Gideons isn't quite what you need. So it's difficult there. All right. So that last card we didn't know about in Matt's hand was a Negate, which is big, and that's another reason why he wouldn't have wanted to go for the return part right there. And on top of that, it looks like he might have one more thing. Oh, no, that's it. Okay, so he passes the turn back. He's got the one Knight ally there as a blocker. So we have to see if Matt's maybe holding one of those fatal pushes that would be able to punch a hole for him, maybe get down that Gideon.
Yeah, most definitely. It looks like we're in the clear right now, by the way. We will be able to finish the stream.
All right, sounds good. All right, so I see some cards moving from his discard to his exile. I think that means we're delving. That's what Matt's been waiting for. That's what every control deck's looking for.
That's the dream, right? You want to get a handful of cards and have answers for everything. I think something to note is that we're probably going to see all of Vraska's Contempts stay.
Yeah, I think that those are useful. Even with only one more Gear Hulk left, there's a chance of bringing it back, maybe with the Scarab God.
Do you think that Matt is almost out of resources here to handle Gideons?
Well, we know about... Let me think what we know about in his hand. We know that there was that Dispel. We know about the Essence Scatter. So it does look like he's kind of running low on ability to stop that. So I see this Dig Through Time going here, but I see mana tapping on Mars' side. He might have a response here.
He might be digging for a Dispel off of the Search for Azcanta. Is that what we're seeing here? Yep. All right, so we're activating as Kanta. Cool.
Now, we do know that Matt also has a Dispel of his own. So
yeah.
And that's something Mars should know about as well. So it's not going to get anywhere, but it is still... It's big. And that also means he's going to be tapped out here. So we might see him find like a Fatal Push and a Scarab God, and that would turn this game on its head.
Most definitely.
Oh, so what it was is he was tapping 3 for, it looks like a... Oh, so he found a Dig Through Time. He did not play a Dig.
He did not play a Dispel.
All right, so Dig Through Time is going to resolve for Matt. And we'll see what he can find.
Man, these control matchups. Oh boy.
Yeah, they're getting intense here.
Yeah. A lot of tanking. Whole lot going into the tank. More thinking than playing oftentimes.
And you know, every once in a while I just like to kind of brush over here to how many cards are left in the deck. I see 28 on one side, 25 on the other.
Yeah, so in that regard...
Who knows if that'll come up.
In that regard, Matt is definitely in the driver's seat. However, it's hard to say the same for the board state.
Alright, so opt means he didn't get there on the... He didn't get the Fatal Push. He doesn't have a way to clear the way yet, but maybe he found it off the opt here. Let's see what he goes for. Alright, there's that Fatal Push. So he's taking out that one last night ally left, and that means he's probably going to be able to get in and take out Gideon. Yep, and here he goes to attacks. Swinging at Gideon, and Gideon's gone. Alright, so that's no more big Gideon, no more small Gideon. He'll throw down a land. That'd be a enter tapped here with the Fetid Pools. He chooses not to hold that and cycle it. I guess he has some use for that land, eventually. And we'll pass it back. Alright, so we know that Mars is holding a Dig Through Time, but we also know that there's a Dispel ready and able to meet it. That's going to be some trouble for him.
Mm-hmm.
So what is Mars... Oh, see, a couple turns ago we thought he had this. One Dig Through Time, and it's totally back the other way. I think that he's now looking for some kind of way to answer this board, and I don't know what's left.
I don't know either. Yeah.
I mean, he'll try and dig here. That'll get the counterspell hopefully out of his opponent's hand. Even drawing for the combo is going to be hard. He knows he's holding back that Essence Scatter.
So we've still got 2 of each Gideon, I think. Well, 1 of one and 2 of the other available to Mars. So...
Ooh, so we're getting a negate going for the Dig Through Time. That means he's holding up the Dispel. We're going to see a Dispel. Counter War is coming.
The so classic Counter War. This is the dream of a blue mage. Oh, okay, we're going to see the Dig resolve. Cool.
Let that resolve. Did we see that Dispel go somewhere else? Did we miss that going on? Or is he trying to hold that up, worried about the final Abrade coming out of his...
So I do see 2 Dispels in the Exile zone. So I think we might have already seen the Dispel.
All right. We must have missed that. I'm sorry. We kept saying he's got this Dispel, But he did have a negate, so puts him in a good position there.
All right. And
with that Dispel from the other side, we're now... that Dig Through Time's good.
It looks like we've got another Dig Through Time coming off of this Dig Through Time. So chaining Dig Through Times, and then there's a Teen Gideon in that dig as well, and that's what we took. I'm getting to you, Rasmus. So yeah, plenty of action still coming in from Seuss, I think, is our answer for what can still happen here, right?
Okay, he's not totally out of this. He's got another small Gideon, and we know that negate's probably out of his hand now, or he'd have thrown that down to stop the Dig Through Time.
Yeah, most definitely. So I think we'll see this Gideon resolve. We can tick it up on the Gear Hulk and probably just swing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind getting a little aggressive here.
Definitely not. No. Get that life total down. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like Seuss feels the same. So, yeah. Beautiful.
So what do we have left that can possibly kill that Gideon?
So we could see a Gear Hulk and then exiling the Gideon with the Vraskas out of the yard. That would be the last straw, if you will. And then...
Yeah, so another land here is tough. I don't know if I like that he kept that Fetid Pool. He played that Fetid Pool his last turn. He could have saved that and cycled it at the end of step.
He could have, yeah.
Maybe
You're
got
right.
another card. So we're seeing that flashback of the Never to Return.
Looks like he wants that, that Abrade.
All right.
He wants it gone.
Like we were saying, that Abrade's really the only thing there with value. I could see going for the Dig Through Time.
I could too.
But I think that he's thinking the only real way he's definitely losing this game is if that we see that combo come through. So he's still trying to protect that Sorcerer's Spyglass. Alright, we're just getting a token here to fill in for that 2/2 zombie creature. We'll see what that does. It may end up just trading with one of these Night Ally tokens and not doing all that much.
It's a zombie. And, yeah. So in future streams, we're going to make sure that there are plenty of tokens available for all players. So apologies to everyone at home who's watching us with these ugly cardboard.
We might also ask them to not use any of these strange altars, but I think that's up to... that might be an argument here. I know that my co-host here also likes those quite a bit.
I'm a big fan of altars, guys. I am total trash. So
we'll make sure to explain what the card is if there's anything on here that's not very obvious what it is when it's in play.
You'll need to be doing that with my reflector mages, just a heads up.
Alright, so he's not stopping here. He's swinging in with these 2 Night Allies.
Okay,
like
and
I said,
it's a
that
trade.
zombie's just going to block. It's going to trade there. Nothing too exciting. I think he still knows that Roast is hanging out. Can't get rid of that Gear Hulk yet. It's just been sitting there. You know, it's been sitting there for a long time, I think.
Does he know?
I think whether or not it was intentional, he did drop that Roast earlier.
Yeah, it's true. And he has lightning strikes as well, so there's a lot of ways for this Gear Hulk to go down to burn. So
now he did take 3 of those lightning strikes out from what he said from his sideboarding, so I think that we're down to maybe 1 more of those in there. He's also got a Abrade, but if he does find the Abrade, do you think he'd rather use it to kill that Torrential Gear Hulk?
It's hard. No, I think you take out the... I think you definitely take out the Sorcerer's Spyglass.
And that'll open him a lot more, even if he's just scrying with the Saheeli, that does something for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So something I always like to look at with Saheeli Rai is, are there any targets in here if Saheeli Rai comes down, just ticks up, ticks up?
Oh, guys. That was a big change.
Alright, so at the end step there, he did go for the Westvale Abbey to make a 1/1, and then the Scarab God is coming into play. Now, does Mars have any way to stop that from happening? I don't believe that he does. So he's going for a Dig Through Time here, maybe looking for... Well, let me take a look at his list, see if he has anything that counterspells this Scarab God before it comes into play. Does not look like it.
No disallows?
No disallows, no... no Essence Scatter. Nothing, no Scatter to the Wind.
So maybe he's just using the opportunity to grab a dig. I mean, to go for a dig while his opponent has tapped out quite a bit of mana, choke him off of that activation of Scarab God. I don't think there's anything that he can. Yeah, there's nothing that Scarab God can grab out of the graveyard at the moment. But
now that also means, I think that he might be more willing to block with that Gear Hulk, eat up that last Night Ally, and then he'd be able to, even if he trades with the Roast, bring that back to 4/4, get another Vraska's Contempt. That would be really dangerous for for Mars here.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that Mars is leaving up 4 mana. End of turn here, he's probably going to be able to activate that Search, or that Azcanta the Sunken Rune. This card is looking so good. It's really the story of this matchup.
I know, right? It's been really, really impressive. Ooh, and seeing an Abrade come down on that. Are we going to see it targeting that? Oh, are we going to see the combo?
We see it on the Spyglass. Now, we do know that he's holding the Essence Scatter, and Mars should also know this from way back when that was played.
Yep, so absolutely. That's been revealed at this point.
So unless he has another negate to back it up, which he has
the mana for
it. Both of them and the negate here.
He's definitely got just naturally. He doesn't even have to untap a land. He's naturally got mana to do combo, negate. So if that sticks...
So again, it's that Azcanta the Sunken Rune, giving him the extra land.
Absolutely. It comes in really surprising ways. It's all about that blue ramp, you know?
Alright, we see 2 mana here. What are we going for?
3 mana. Oh, the Saheeli. What's gonna happen?
Yeah. If he's holding up mana for a counter war, I think you'd rather play it there. Okay. Now, what's the more prudish play? Should he do something like plus the Gideon first? In case, I don't know, maybe if the Saheeli dies in response. I'm trying to think what he wants to do here. What he's trying to play around.
I think he's just going to drop Gat. Yeah.
If he's got the negate to back it up, then that's going to be huge. Let's see here. 2 mana for the Essence Scatter.
Here's the Essence Scatter. Yep. Oh,
it works.
All right, so that's going to be a zombie cat in a little bit here, I think.
Which could be trouble. He'll be able to blink the Gearhulk.
Blink the Gearhulk and Vraska's. That's amazing. Oh, wait, he can't. It's a token. Oh, wait, no, he totally can. Yeah.
Oh, so he's killing the Scarab God, try and slow that down. He would be able to play the Scarab God and return the Felidar Guardian next turn. Then he'd probably be able to take out the Saheeli Rai.
Wow. What an amazing turn of events.
Yeah, this is tough. This could go either way now. I think we were back and forth on who had a chance here. Getting those couple of dig-through times really put Mars in the lead, but teetering on a knife's edge at this point.
Most definitely.
Right. 5 mana. Looks like he's going to tap down for the Scarab God once again.
Yep, that's what it looks like. And we're probably going to see a reanimated cat here.
Now, does he want to swing with that Gearhulk first, maybe?
Did the Gearhulk get ticked up on?
Oh, that's right. The Gearhulk got ticked up on. So that would not matter either way.
Yup, yeah.
Alright, he gets a 4/4. He gets to blink this Gearhulk.
I'm probably going to see a Vraska's on either a Gideon or a Saheeli. Yup.
Now, I think he's got to go for the Saheeli. He knows that it's been held back all game. Then again, he may have another Saheeli in hand. He knows that. That's only number 2. There should be one more in the deck, right? Let's take a look here. I don't see any other ones in exile. So in the 2 cards in hand and the 18 cards left in his deck, there should be another Saheeli there somewhere.
So there's one Saheeli up top, one Saheeli down bottom. And none other in graveyard.
Yep, and only one... Oh, I see 2 Felidar Guardians here. And if he doesn't get those, I don't know how he's going to win from this position.
Yeah. This is... It's amazing how often the pendulum has swung in this game. In this game alone.
I wonder if Mars forgot about that counterspell in hand. It's been, a long time since that was drawn. And maybe I'm also eating my words here. I didn't think that the Essence Scatter would be what he'd want to play in this matchup, but...
Man, did he find a time for it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so we've got 5 mana. Alright, we've got a Fumigate. That's not bad here.
Could we see Gideon go into the red zone and get a little bit of tussle in?
That might be his best bet of winning. There's one more Fumigate in the deck. If he tries to do the same thing next turn, play a bunch of creatures, play Scarab God, bring back the Torrential Gearhulk, but then it just kills the Gideon, so that's not great there.
So we're going to see 5 points of life? Yeah, 5 life points coming from this. That's amazing. Yep. Incredibly well-timed Fumigate. And yep, Gideon goes into the red zone. We're going to see Matt go to 4.
Now he's got a lightning strike. Does he have any other burn? Nope, but we've got a Gideon. That could be big.
That's huge. If this resolves.
So it's still going to be a big turn for Matt next turn. He's going to play that Scarab God. He's going to be able to return that Torrential Gearhulk to the battlefield.
Vraska's again. Yep,
Vraska's again. And then he just has to worry about what's going to come off the top of that. He is out of gas.
Yep. We're officially... I mean, he also has his search for... Or rather, his Azcanta the Sunken Rune in play.
Still, he's going to gain the 2 life off Vraska's. He's going to be put to 7 here. I'm really liking how much... how much Ixalan's really having a play in this matchup here.
Yeah, most definitely.
All of the cards that we're really calling out here. The Opt, the Search for Azcanta, which has just been huge, as well as the Vraska's Contempt.
And the Planeswalker rule. All coming into play in this game.
Oh, absolutely, with that Planeswalker.
Yeah.
Been a big change for Control. It's been a big change for Saheeli. And We're really seeing the effects of it right here. All right, a dig through time. That's going to be big. He left behind. Let's make sure he left behind that Vraska. Didn't make a mistake there. Okay. So we've still got the Vraskas in the yard. He's going to refill. There's nothing coming out of Mars's deck right now.
I'm getting a check on this dig through time.
Check on what?
I'm getting a check on this dig through time.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right, he'll tell me what he sees here.
All right, we're waiting on a report on this dig through time. We've got our judges down on the floor. All right, so he's got a Gearhulk, 2 Fatal Push, an Opt, and 3 land.
All right, so I see Gearhulk being probably an auto grab there.
Most definitely the Gearhulk is coming in.
Close out this game.
Maybe we grab an Opt as well. I mean, there's no need for... Yeah, he's taking Opt and Gearhulk for sure.
Well, let's take a look here if there's any counter spells left. I think that if he can opt into another negate, it looks like I see 2 in the yard, and I see 1 in the exile. So I'm missing another one here.
Do you think we see Matt tap out on his main phase?
I think that he's going to throw the 9 on his main phase, yes. It's not like the Felidar Guardian, blink an Oath of Nissa, immediately find the Saheeli Rai and win from there.
Yeah, I think you have to do it while the shields are down. Like, you have to do this.
One card that's good. So I'm going to see the... Alright, so we're seeing a fetch land. We're going to probably see the...
This is a Scarab God. Yep. Coming in on the main phase, yeah. Are we just going to activate it right away? Yep, absolutely. Going to get a Gearhulk and going to Vraska's one of these Gideons, I imagine.
So I would assume he'd probably go for the Gideon allies then.
Yeah, that's the more threatening of the two for sure. I
ate my words on the Essence Scatter. I think you got to eat your words on Scarab God being good in this matchup.
You're right. I was totally wrong. Scarab God lets him run more torrential Gearhulks and blink his own Gearhulks. This is effectively an 8 Gearhulk match.
And even just, that being able to bring back a 4/4 that scries, that's not bad. See, those free 4/4 so good.
Yeah, turns out 4/4s are good.
I'm trying to hype up my deck again. You guys seem to like making it into a joke.
I think it's very silly. it's like the meme dream of all time. Oh my gosh, is this gonna resolve?
That Fumigate off the top, but we'll see that Op look for another negate.
Like gonna fish for a counter. Yeah, most
with
definitely.
20 cards left, and we know 5 of them at the bottom are not the negate, so he can see 2 of them. Well, he kept on top, so that's probably bad news for Mars here.
No, he bottomed.
Oh, he bottomed. Okay, so how quickly is he going to be able to turn this around? If he...
Okay, so Fumigate lands, Scarab God and Torrential Gearhulk both hit the yard. Okay, so Gideon gets in for 4. And then we can see a search for Azcanta.
Oh, but he won't be able to get enough mana to cast a Lightning Strike, which we know he has
alright, it resolves.
In the deck.
This game is so insane.
I think that Fumigate, there's potential now, especially if he cracks that fetch land.
He got what he needed to off the top. That's so unreal.
He's got the search for Azcanta, and he's got a draw step to try and hit that Lightning Strike with 16 cards left. There's some potential there.
I'm going to find out if he left in the Lightning Strikes.
I believe he left in 1. I wouldn't ask him. That's a little bit of information more than.
I whispered to him so that Matt can't see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna check his deck list. He's not sure. Oh, so you know what? He does have 3 in his main deck, and he took them all out, I believe.
Okay.
So let me think. At this point, we can almost figure out what's in his deck, but it's not a lot that's going to be great here.
All right, so I think we see Scarab God come back down.
Ooh, wait. We've got a big play here.
We've got a big play
wow,
in that.
That's huge. Oh, man. So,
Oh my gosh.
At the end of Marce's turn,
He missed a
at the end
trigger.
of Marce's turn, Matt did not remember to bring his Gearhulk back from the graveyard to play.
You mean his Scarab God? That's so huge.
Oh, that's so bad.
That's so huge.
See, here I was just thinking, I don't think that Marce has anything left, but that's going to be tough. I don't know how he's going to get. He's still got the Gearhulk in hand. We know about that. And I don't think there's a third. Oh, there is a third Vraska's. So he's still got this game almost on lock. We know that there's no third Dispel out of Mars's deck that he might be able to find off of a Search for Azcanta trigger. So it's not over. It's still looking really bad for Mars.
It is looking bad, but at the same time, he's got him on a 1-turn clock.
Yeah, he's got him on a
so crazy.
Short clock here. Well, no, he's gonna gain that life and go back to 5. Get rid of this Gideon, but he should do this main phase. He doesn't want to wait. Give Mars a chance to search, a chance to untap. That would be really bad for him.
I don't think there's a Gearhulk. Oh wait, no, yeah, he got a Gearhulk off of his dig.
He got a Gearhulk in his hand. Yeah.
You're correct.
So he's in a good spot there. So we saw six of the Restless Contempt cast this game. If we see this one cast right here now.
Yes, correct. This will be totally exhausted Vraskas. So we've got 1.
I'm just impressed that we saw this cast 6 times in one game, and I think all that Planeswalker.
So I think we're going to have to talk to Matt Murday about this one, because
he did not think that card was going to be good. He was,
not at all.
This morning we were talking about it.
Yeah, we're seeing it played 6 times in this game. That's unreal. But that'll be the last time that that a Planeswalker can actually be directly cast upon. So
now,
at that point,
looking at Gideon, I see how many Gideons do I see here? All right, I see 1 in play, and there's 2 of that kind in the yard, and then 3 of the other kind in the yard. So we still got 1 of each left in the deck. Is that right?
Are we running full play set of both?
Yes, full play set of both.
Then yeah, there's still a couple of each in the deck, but those can't get grabbed off of an Azcanta. So, he will have to top deck them or dig for them.
So if you see Arthas play this Gearhulk here, flashback that last Vassals Contempt, what do you think his chances of how quickly he's going to turn around this game, start going on the offensive?
I mean, he's lost his Scarab God.
Yeah, that
to a missed trigger. That really hurts. That's not where you want to be right now. So
did he bring in the second one? He's got that second one.
He could get that. Yeah, that's true. He has also dug through a lot of his deck at this point, so there's always that distinct possibility.
Looking at his sideboard as well, he has some other cards he could have brought in, and that it does sounds like he didn't. He didn't bring in those 2 Kalidas and Trader of Gat, which in this matchup, that might be a good attacker as run into a Fumigate.
Yep, so I think we're going to see this Vraskas. Yep, absolutely.
All right. And I think also he's got Ace sideboard that he did not bring in. That might have also been strong.
Let's get a
Oh yes, just a ruling here for you pointing out. You just said that you can't get the Gideon off of Azcanta. It's non-creature, non-land. It's not instant or sorcery.
Oh, got it. So he can get a Gideon.
Yes, just can't get creatures. Ooh, and that looks like what he's got. All right, top 4, he found the Gideon.
That'll do it. Yeah.
It'll block for him for a little bit, unless his opponent has the same ability though. He's going to search those top cards, try and find something.
Yeah.
You know, we're down to 18 cards left in Arthas' deck. Still no Field of Ruin.
Yeah.
Got 2 of them.
But I mean,
and it would actually be huge here. Get rid of that.
We're sitting pretty comfortably at a lot of. Oh yeah, he could get rid of the Azcanta. That's true.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be quite the play. Okay, so we're gonna see Gideon on the stack.
All right. We don't know what's in Matt's hand anymore. We don't know if he's got a good counter.
Let's get a hand check.
Ooh.
Were you still with me, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry about that.
Okay, cool. Man, both players just in the tank right now. This is intense. So he's got an Essence Scatter in hand and another Search for Azcanta. So this Gideon is going to resolve.
So playing that other search wouldn't be bad. He doesn't have to throw cards into his graveyard if he doesn't want to. I know we'd start to get to the point where that cards left in deck race matters. Oh, he's at 18 versus 13.
It's really getting down to the down to the bit right now.
So I mean, I don't see how it could hurt. Given that little bit of card selection seems pretty nice. But we'll see what else he wants to do here. So he's going to activate this Search for Azcanta, find the other Sorcerer's Spyglass. So that's interesting here. If he plays it out, it'd give him a chance to see Mars's hand, as well as stopping this Gideon. Or he could also use it and... Let me read the card here real quick. Sorcerer's Spyglass. I want to see if he can target the other opponent's Azcanta, or if it'll affect his as well.
This is so intense. We're back at having the full tribe in assembly and no way to remove them.
Oh man, so yeah, we were saying he's got one of each left in the deck. And
there they are. Here. I mean, when you've got 13 cards left in your deck, what are your odds of hitting them?
They're pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Especially with him putting everything else on the...
Oh, we see a scoop!
Oh, he scoops to that.
Oh, man!
Wow, we did not know where that game was going to really end. That was incredible.
That was just haymakers everywhere. Oh my gosh. 3 counter wars.
Take off for a second if you want to take this, and I'll be right back.
Cool. So folks, I think we might be seeing a little bit more sideboarding happening here. If I am Seuss, I see the value of having those lightning strikes. I might bring those back in. Once again, we're really wondering whether the Essence Scatter is worth it for Matt McTavish right now. But yeah, I mean, that was all right. I'm getting reports from Seuss that there will be no strikes coming in. So we're just gonna go Gideon to face. And he's confident. Locking it in, not boarding again. So good luck to Matt. And let's see if he decides to board anything in. Really impressive this last game, how important that search for Azcanta was. And it sounds like my friend Kevin Finkel might be back.
Yep, I'm back here.
Cool.
All right, we are going into a game number 3. This is a long... Whew.
Yeah, most definitely. I might not be able to stick around for the whole thing. So I've got to get going in 20. And unsurprisingly, in the control mirror, we are at an hour and 30 minutes.
So you don't think we're going to see a turn 4 win this time?
I mean, I think it's unlikely. So we're also seeing Matt take some time to decide whether he wants to board it. Oh, wait. Oh, it looks like we might have had a disconnection. All right. So Matt re-entering the game. I'm going to do what you did, and I'm going to go get some water. So I've been talking for an hour and a half about a control mirror. So my voice is getting a little hoarse, and I need to recharge.
All right. We will see you shortly.
Notably, while you were gone, Seuss decided not to sideboard anything. He's confident.
All right, so no changes in Seuss's deck. That means that I think that's probably reasonable. We saw how good the Fumigates were last game, even if they were questionable. I could see the lightning strikes coming in, but I can also see why they don't need to come in. So I think that's going to be just fine there. Now we'll see if we get any kind of changes from Matt's deck. It looks like he is doing some sideboarding. We will ask him afterward and see what it was that he wanted to change there. I think that maybe some of those top-end threats that'll actually finish out the game, having a little trouble with that. I also wouldn't mind seeing those Lilianas come back in. That was great. That might be a great card. Because especially without those lightning strikes, he didn't see any of that in game 2. Maybe he knows that the Liliana is probably going to stick around unless he's really on the back foot.
Our friend Thomas Snodgrass chiming in to say, hurry up, guys. We know control mirrors are slow. Can you guys just pretend to be a Tarka Red for a second?
Alright, so we've got a mulligan from Mars. So far, we don't know if we keep... Ooh, another mulligan from our Saheeli deck. Gonna be trouble.
I mean, he is on the draw, so he can afford to mulligan twice. An untapped land coming in from Matt, not something you want to see if you are on the draw.
Not too unlikely, though, as well. He's got those... He's got the Sunken Hollows, and he also has the pools that come in.
Looks like an opt coming in, very predictably. Yep.
That's a great opening.
Remember how we were saying that that's a decent card? Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So it looks like Seuss's first hand was a bit underwhelming. Okay, so Seuss's opening hand was a Polluted Delta, an Opt, a Spire Bluff Canal, a Fumigate, and a Dig Through Time, and he drew a Gideon Ally of Zendikar. So this is going to be...
Well, that doesn't sound bad.
Not bad at all, but a little slow. So
yeah, you're going to Opt.
We might be looking for a Jace here.
We're probably not going to see that turn 4 win, I hope.
Probably not.
I mean, land go, we'll probably see a lot of that. You really want to be hitting these lands in this mirror.
As long as they're doing land go quickly, I'm fine with it. So looks like we're seeing a fetch, so we might have drawn an additional land there, because previously we were just looking at a 2-lander.
Yeah, I think that's probably why he kept on top. Happy to keep up with that opt draw card. That's if it's a land. Otherwise, he'd probably shift it to the bottom.
Yep, most definitely.
So we'll see if he can keep hitting those land drops. Otherwise, it's going to get bad real quick.
So here's our third land, and he's not going to play into the counter.
I think that's reasonable. I think that doesn't get much better, though, especially when he's on the back foot on land. So at some point, he's going to have to try and make some action, and Matt's going to be able to answer.
Oh,
so here we go.
Field of Rune coming in.
We're so excited to see this. And here goes the search for Iskanta as well.
Hey, just putting it out there, you might be choked on red mana in a little bit, so... Man. Does this require tap to do the thing? It does. All right, cool.
Yes, so it does require tap. Similar to Ghost Quarter. It requires tap, it comes in untap, but it can only target the opponents, which is a big change from Ghost Quarter. There were times where you'd want to quarter your own land, get an untapped land to be able to do something.
I'm just going to chime in really quick.
Sure thing. Oh yeah, so something that you're mentioning here, but we can probably bring up on stream as long as we got a slow one. Okay, so he's going for this cry. I think he knows this is going to get countered. He may be playing this out, thinking, okay, well. Okay,
yeah, I think he just wants to eat a counter. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so actually he has
Ooh! Oh, it's a counter war already. Turn 4 counter war.
He's got the disallow backed up with negate. That's the advantage of being on the play here. So on one hand, getting the Saheeli Rise probably less important than if he can get that. If he's now cleared the way for his Gideon in hand, that could be big.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking the same thing.
So you're just mentioning we got some news this morning while we're talking about Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin, is that previously you could Ghost Quarter somebody's land. It was a May for them to go and search for a new land up. Now it's something that you do have to tell them it's an option.
Yes,
it's just
absolutely.
a little bit of change on how the wording works for that. It's especially useful. It really just gets rid of people being able to try and trick players by having them not know the cards, not giving wording that lets them.
It is pretty honest, yeah.
So now I see 2 Field of Ruin. So if he wanted, he can completely take out the red mob on Mars' side.
He could. And it looks like he might.
To see that go. Ooh, well, I see an opt first, so he's not going to be able to do them both on... Actually, he could do them both on this turn, because he finds a land off the one of them.
Who is in the driver's seat right now? What is going on here? He's going to cycle with Fed Impulse. Alright, we're just thinning it out, getting some action. So, making sure... We just offloaded a whole bunch of counter spells, so... Oh, looks like we might see a dig.
Oh, does he have the mana for it? Yeah, he's got 5 in the yard. Ooh, so it looks
and he's
like
leaving a mana up just in case there's a sensor. All right.
Learn from the last turn, but he's still going to meet this negate here. He could also be bluffing or actually holding the Dispel, though, but that would have been his second Dispel.
Yeah, totally.
Now, on the other hand, with 1 card left in hand, well, it'll be about to be 2. We're not seeing a lot that not a lot going on Earth.
Yeah, Matt's kind of digging right now. So
as excited as I was getting about those, when we're thinking about it, what does Mars really need the red for? I think the only red card left in his deck is going to be that Saheeli Rai. So he took out all of those lightning strikes. He took out the Radiant Flames. He took out...
He left Roast.
So he left Roast. He left those Abrades, or he brought in the extra Abrade. So those could be useful in specific situations. But overall, red is not really the most important color for him.
Mm-hmm.
It could be useful to cut it off in the future, but... Ooh, so we've got a flip
activating his Kanto already.
Puts him up to 7 mana already against the 4 on Mars' side. That's never good in a counter war.
Definitely not.
I think we're going to just start seeing this card grind him out. I think this is already looking like a bad position for Mars.
Yeah, this game looked so strongly to be in Seuss's favor a turn ago. And now it's just completely flipped on its face. He can even... I think he can cast this. He can totally cast this dig that he just grabbed. On end step. This is on the end of Seuss's turn.
So Mars is still stuck on those 4 lands. Definitely hurting here. We're going to see this dig through time come out.
Savage.
Well, we'll see here if Mars has an answer. We don't know if he's got a counterspell left up. He could have had a negate last turn that he didn't have mana for. But
we're going to see what this dig is. So, Matt looks at the top of his library, looks at the top 7 cards, and he sees... The suspense is real. Buckle in, ladies. Scarab God, Gearhulk, negate, disallow, never to return, and 2 lands. Oh my god. That is such a loaded dig. Oh.
So what do you think here with the Gearhulk, obviously?
I think knowing Matt, he goes for the Scarab God.
Oh, yeah, that's true. The Scarab God has looked so good up here. Well, was it a Gearhulk, or did I hear that wrong?
There was a Gearhulk. So I think he goes for a Never to Return and a Scarab God. But we will see.
I almost like Gearhulk here more than I like Scarab God. Further push his advantage. I can dig through time with the Gearhulk. Whereas the Scarab God, if he gets met with a Gideon here, it's just going to sit there. It doesn't have to bring back at all.
Man. We're about to see the most popular deck of this entire tournament possibly take it back on a game 3. Up 3 lands versus our own Mars the Seuss. He went for God and Gearhulk.
Well, I didn't see... Okay, he went for God and Gearhulk. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's perfect.
reasonable with the lands that he's been hitting.
Oh,
so Mars draws another card.
Ships back the turn, doesn't play a land.
Yeah, no land, just passes it right back.
No, thank you. I will not play my Gideon into your counterspell.
We're going to see Gearhulk at the end of the turn here.
Yeah, Matt says, yeah, sure, I'll play a Gearhulk. And I'll do the most frontier thing in the world and grab a dig through time. What do you got to say about that, Seuss? You want to tap out on your turn?
Well,
Seuss says no thank you, no dig.
Oh, he will go for the negate. So that's big if it resolves. Oh, it looks like it does resolve.
The Gearhulk, though, is literally big. A 5/6 body. So
that's still going to be a 4-turn clock. Mars can really find something. Now, we do have Matt tapped out here. If there was any chance to abrade, it'd be right here.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's going to let him untap, then not a good position. Have a lot of cards to try it. Nope, there he goes. All right. So we're in a bad position for Mars here. And once again, even if he had that, maybe that Felidar Guardian, there's nothing in play to bounce with that. That's something I still see as a weak Felidar Guardian decks that aren't running so many of the enter the battlefield creatures.
Oh, Hushwing Griff is brutal against those.
That's definitely true. I agree that Hushwing Griff is a real beating there. So I think that's playing around that, but instead it finds other weaknesses.
All right, so we're going to see both modes of Azcanta active here.
Yep, so he'll sit with the one version of Azcanta, not flipping it, unless if he has something to, like, use the mana on his beginning of turn and try something else.
Interesting that he decided to take a beat from the Gearhulk before blowing it up.
Yeah, not only did he take that beat from the Gearhulk, but he didn't do it while his opponent was tapped out the previous turn.
Yeah, that was a really curious play.
All right, but he draws a card, no land once again, he's back.
It's
Probably
really...
see another activation of the Azcanta here.
All right, so we actually really like to see a Gearhulk in the yard. I think that Matt's perfectly fine with that because now he's got a target he can bring back as a 4/4 zombie.
So yeah, if he had a negate, I could see him definitely holding that up and stopping.
Is this another dig?
I'm expecting this.
No, okay, yeah, Azcanta.
The Azcanta, the Sunken Ruin. And you know, this Azcanta can also, if it finds deck, feed him into the graveyard, and that'll be fuel for the Scarab. That's almost another reason I would have see those Kalidas come. Alright, so if you guys are watching chat here, we've got a joke from our other co-host was on the podcast saying that the Azcanta doesn't look great. He didn't think that you want to tap out turn 2 for a deck like this. And in this matchup, it's definitely looking good. I can still see why you wouldn't want to tap out against Artarka Red, but I don't think that's any different from playing at Jace, which we all know tapping out for turn 2.
Thomas is already on my joke about him being Grandpa Murday. We love you, Matt. Thank you for being on our podcast with us.
All right, we're seeing yet another land come out. I'm sure that Mars is getting envious.
Yeah, I think that if Mars were both in the chat and here in this game, he would be full of emojis.
All right, so he's thinking about it. No, Mars only has 4 mana, which means
he almost played
safe to tap out. There's no way to tap out and just lose the game on the next turn from this position. And even still, he'd be able to hold up 3 mana, probably for some kind of counter spell. Nope, but he's just going to pass the turn back. All right, we see land 5 coming out from. Means his Fumigate's online. I don't know what. Let's see here. He's tapping white or red.
No, that
4 mana, 5 mana.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna try the Gideon. Let's see if it
so
sticks.
He played the Inspiring Vantage. It came in tapped.
It did come in tapped. I was going to correct you on that. Yeah.
Thank you. Saw him move lands around. That island was the new. So he's going for some kind of counter play. It looks he has yet another Gearhulk who flash back a counter.
That would be a very handsome play.
Oh, well, he's going for Dig instead.
Cool.
And Mars is tapped out here, so whatever this Dig finds, he'll be able to use it. I think I still would have liked the Scarab God coming down.
I would have too.
Now I'm less willing to tap out for Scarab God because there's the potential of playing an extra land, playing Saheeli Rai, playing Flyletter Guardian, untapping a land, playing Saheeli Rai.
Mm-hmm. There's always that chance, yeah. I mean, he could play a Sorceress Spyglass, see what's going on, then play a Gearhulk if he wants
Spyglass would be good, or holding up a counter spell if he has one would be fine. Then I'd probably feel safe doing it, but without that, I'd be cautious to do so. Now with the Search for Azcanta, the other one is just going to be sitting there. It won't give you card advantage. All it's going to do is scry those cards, put them in the graveyard if you don't. Is that worth a card? Or is it just worth playing with 3 of them because then you get to see it more games. You get to always have one. Get this value all the time.
I would leave it. You're asking whether we flip it?
Oh, no, we can't flip it because we've got... it's legendary on both sides, so if you go for it, it would destroy one of them.
What I'm saying is you could use it for multiple Azcanta activations in a single turn if you wanted to. Yeah, you could use
it for multiple activations. I'm saying sitting as it is on that side, is that really worth a card?
Good question. So now we see the Gearhulk, or not the Gearhulk, the Scarab God land.
Scarab God come down. Now it's in a little less strong of a position right now. That Gideon's sitting there. He's going to pump out a couple tokens here.
And we are going to have to call that our stream.
all right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I think that we'll make sure to... Is there any way we can update our viewers at home on what happens at the end here?
Yes, we will absolutely get a recap at the end of this. Look on Reddit, folks. We're at reddit.com/r/MTG Final Frontier. And this will be posted there. The results of the game, and it's going to be a great one.
In a big play here, I see a roast. I see a Gearhulk coming down in a response. This is going to be big, but it's
oh man, another dig Gearhulk dig. Oh
well, no, I think that what this was he tried to roast the Scarab God, and then he used the ability to bring back the Gearhulk response. Getting yet another dig. He's up to 8 cards in hand. All right, well, we'll have to update you another time. I'm really sorry that we're...
Yeah, if you would do the honors and take us out here, Kevin.
Yeah, I hope that you guys all find us on Reddit, we're on Instagram, what is our contact info if you want to get that?
At MTG Frontier on Instagram, folks.
I think it's at MTG_Frontier on Instagram. It's at MTG Frontier on Twitter. Find us online. We're a bunch of places. We'd love to talk Frontier anytime. We're trying to be the #1 online source for Frontier. But it's been great tonight. This has been a really cool year. Wish we could do a little bit more of it. Sign off for tonight.
Have a great night, folks. It's been my pleasure to bring this to you.